Thank you so much, Raf, for having me here today. My name is Gue, and I am the Senior Assistant Director for Global Outreach at Clark University in Worcester, Massachusetts. I'm very happy to be here to share with you more information about Clark University. We'll talk about admissions, about Clark overview. We'll also talk about scholarship, as well as the application process as well. So with that, I'm going to start sharing my screen. Alrighty. All right. So an overview about Clark. So Clark University is named after Jonas Clark. He's the founder of the university, and also he's originally from Central Mass as well. So Clark University was founded in 1887. Back then, when the university was first founded, it was the institution that provided education at the graduate level only, with a very strong focus on research, especially in the fields of psychology. In the field of psychology. But things have changed a lot in the last 100+ years. Nowadays, Clark is the institution that provides education at both undergraduate and graduate level. We have more than 3,000 students at both levels, and about 2,200 students are undergraduate, and about 1,000 are graduate students. We are very well known for our small class size. Our average class size is 19, and student to faculty ratio is 9:1. And with those numbers, you can tell like we're a small institution, but that is actually one of the reasons students chose to come to Clark. With the small environment, students get a chance to receive more individualized support, as well as easier for them to connect with new friends and build connection and integrate into a new environment. We have a pretty diverse student body. We have about 6.5% of our students at the undergraduate level are international, coming from more than 60 countries around the world. We also have students coming from more than 40 states in the US. In terms of programs that we offer at Clark, so we have more than 50 majors and minors that are housed under 3 colleges: the College of Arts and Sciences. This is where you can find programs like, chemistry, math, philosophy, psychology, political science, etc. And then we also have school management, where we offer a program like management, finance, and then last but not least, the newest addition to Clark, starting from last year, is Becker School of Design and Technology. This is where we have a very famous game design program that is ranked number 3 in the world according to Princeton Review. I want to spend the next few slides talking about our curriculum, because this is really our point of pride. So as you may know, we are a liberal arts college, but as I mentioned earlier, we started as a research university, and so we don't want to lose the research identity. So nowadays, our curriculum is really the combination of liberal studies and research and hands-on learning. So that puts us in a very unique position, because we provide the students the best of both. And the way that we deliver this curriculum is through some of the featuring programs. The first year intensive program of liberal studies, problems of practice courses, and capstone. So the first year intensive is really one of the courses that you will take in your first year. So lots of things will happen in your first year. But the purpose of the first year experience that we want to provide for our students is to help them with the smoothest transition possible from being a high school student to being a college student. So in your first year intensive course, classes will be small. It will be capped to 15 to 16 students only. Will be very interactive, and you will start with other FYI peers. And your FYI professor will also serve as your advisor until you declare your major in the end of your sophomore. So that way, having your professor as your advisor is very beneficial because that person would know, your academic goal, your learning style, and what you like, what you don't like. This is especially important for students who come at Clark as with an undecided major. It is completely normal when you don't know what you want to study, especially when you just graduate from high school. So when you complete your application in Common App with us, there's an option for you to say that you are undecided. And so in your first year intensive, if you don't know what you want to study, this is a great chance for you to explore what do we offer at Clark and explore yourself as well to see what you like, what you don't like, what your strengths are. And so maximizing your time with your professor and also serve as your advisor will help you to navigate that journey. So you may wonder, so what do I study in the first year intensive? So it varies. Every student will be different. So if you already know what you want to study, perfect, that's great. So you can choose one of the introductory courses in that field. For example, you can choose to start taking classes in chemistry if that's what you want. But for some students who don't know what you want to study, this is a great chance for you to explore. Your professor will give you some guidance after asking you some questions about what you like, what you don't like, and then we'll give you some advices on what classes you should explore. But at the same time, if you already know what you want to study, it doesn't mean that you have to limit yourself with that field only. It is completely normal that one person has interest in more than one field. Someone may be interested in business, but also interested in art. So, for example, that person may take like art and science of management, for example. So this is all about helping you to explore yourself, explore what's offered at Clark. And besides that, this is also the first year intensive also help you to know how to be a college student. So this is a time when you will learn how to navigate different resources on campus. You will learn how to, for example, how to borrow books from the library, how to schedule an appointment with your professor, things like that. The whole purpose is that we want to make sure that we give you the best support we can, so that we want to set you up for success in later years. You don't feel struggle in your year 2, year 3, or year 4. So with that, the first year intensive is all about preparing you a strong foundation so that you can move forward. And then the next one is the program of liberal studies. As I mentioned, we are a liberal arts university. So the program of liberal study is really a reflection of our liberal art education component that I mentioned earlier. So in case you haven't known about the liberal arts studies, especially for international students, this may be like a term that you may not be super familiar with. So the philosophy of liberal art education is to provide you with a well-rounded education, so that it doesn't matter what major that you want to pursue. We want to make sure that you have a good set of skills in different areas. For example, students who want to study computer science may be they may be very good at critical thinking, or someone who wants to do arts, they are very good at creative thinking. But the idea is that you don't know when you graduate, you don't know what kind of job you're going to get, what kind of company, environment, the people you're going to work with. And it's very most likely that the people you're going to work with will come from different backgrounds with different perspectives. So preparing yourself with a good set of skills, especially soft skills, and knowing why some people think in different perspectives is very important. So that's why we have this list of 9 requirements that we want you to complete within your 4 years. As you can see that these 9 requirements are grouped into 2 categories, the critical thinking courses and the perspective courses. For example, under the critical thinking courses, we have formal analysis course, or formal analysis of requirement. So one thing to keep in mind is that this is not a subject. This is the the requirement you have to fulfill. And there are different ways that you can fulfill these requirements. For example, under formal analysis course, you can fulfill it by taking like a traditional math related course, like statistics. But some students may choose to take music theory to complete that requirement. So although we have a set of requirements we want you to complete, we give you the freedom to choose how to complete that, depend on, like maybe the field that you're interested in. So there's more than one way to show that you've received some knowledge and skills in formal analysis. And that's what we want to shape the POS program. And then the next one is the problem of practice courses. This is the research and hands-on learning component comes in. So the problem of practice courses is an optional course. You don't have to, but because of the nature of this course, it's so fun to learn that lots of students want to take advantage of this. So during problem of practice courses, students can either do an internship, they can go on a field trip, they can, for example, we have some students who study in a language class, help with the translation of some documents for refugees in Worcester. We also have students who help local business with their business plan. So there are different ways that you can involve in research and hands-on learning through the PLP. And a cool thing about this is that most of the PLP course happen in Worcester, and so that students can see how and what they learn in the classroom can be applied in real life, and how can it help the people in Worcester, in the community that they are living and studying in. So I think it's a very meaningful approach of the PLP at Clark. And then last but not least is a capstone. So capstone is usually happens in your senior year. This is where you will do some high level project to capture what you have been studying in the last 3 years or 3 plus years. So capstone can happen in different forms. It can be an internship, it can be a research paper. It can also be, we know that we have some students who decide to do like a short film as the capstone. So again, we give you the freedom to choose how you want to do your capstone, but it doesn't mean you have to do it all by yourself. You always have your advisor, your mentor, who will be there to be your guidance, as well. And then with that approach in education, we are very proud of the outcome of our students. 84% of our students complete at least one internship or similar experience before their senior year. And 97% of students are employed in school or engaged in a fellowship or voluntary experience within 6 months of graduation. Those numbers don't happen by accident. If you recall what I have just presented earlier, that we actually prepare students from day one so that we can see these numbers. We give them, first of all, the smooth transition from being a high school student to being a college student with our FYI. Then we provide a well-rounded education with our program of liberal studies. We give our students opportunities to apply what they learn in the classroom into real world with our PLP. And so that is no surprise to me that 84% of students complete at least one internship, because by the time they graduate, they already have quite a rich resume to show, besides that the school I graduated, the degree I got, but also they can show what projects I have involved in and what are what other real world project I have done. We also provide lots of support for our students in terms of career preparation. Clark Connect is one of them. So Clark Connect you can think of it as like a LinkedIn for Clarkies. This is where our students connect with Clark alumni and also like people in the industry, and also they can connect with their maybe future mentor here, and as well as job opportunities as well. For any of you who are interested in, this is probably my favorite slide. So if any of you who are interested in pursuing a graduate program right after your undergraduate, this is something you want to keep in mind. We have the 5th-year master program that allows students to complete their bachelor and master degree within 5 years. The even better part is that their 5th year could be tuition free. The way it works is that, so in your junior year, if you want to pursue a graduate degree, you have to apply in your year 3. And then after that, if you are accepted in your year 4, you will finish up your 4th year of your undergraduate program. At the same time, taking some graduate level courses. and then you will stay at Clark for one more year to finish up your master program. So that's it, 5 years, 2 degrees, and your 5th year could be tuition free. In terms of admissions process and deadline, so we no longer take applications for fall 2023. You're welcome to apply for spring 2024 or fall 2024. So we have 2 days. You only need to remember 2 days: November 15 or January 15. So it depends on whether you want to apply as early decision, early action, or regular decision. In terms of applications material, we accept applications through Common App or Coalition. There is no application fee. It's free to apply. We require 2 recommendation letters, one from your teacher and one from your counselor. So for international students, I know that not every school will have a counselor. So in that case, we will accept 2 recommendation letters from 2 different teachers. 2 different academic teachers. Of course, transcript, would like to see transcript from the most recent 3 years of education. And then for international students whose, English is not your native language, then we would require proof of English proficiency. This can be done by submitting IELTS, TOEFL, or Duolingo. We also have an admissions interview. This is not required, but we strongly recommend because we review application holistically. So that means that we look beyond transcript. We look into your extracurricular activities. We look into your essays and recommendation letters. And if anything else that we can, any opportunities we got to get to know you better as a person and not just an application through the transcript that you provide or in the application, we would love to take advantage of those opportunities. So an admissions interview is one of the ways for us to get to know you better and for you to get to know us better. At the end of the day, we want to make sure that it's a good match, that we find the right student and you find the right school. We hope that you find a school that you will be happy and you will thrive, and this is the kind of environment that you're looking for. So take advantage of the admissions interview and get to know us better, and so that we can also get to know you better too. We don't require SAT or ACT. We have been test optional for more than 10 years. You don't have to submit it, but if you do have SAT or ACT and it's a very good score and it's your pride, we will not take it away from you. You feel free to send it to us, but just want to say that it has very minimal impact on your application. Admissions and financial aid, the total cost of attendance at Clark is about $67,000. 85% of our students receive some type of financial aid. We have 2 types of financial aid program: merit-based scholarship and need-based financial aid. So merit-based scholarship is automatically considered. We will use the same application package that you submit for admissions for our scholarship considerations. You don't have to submit a separate application for scholarship. For this year, our the highest merit-based scholarship is up to $28,000 a year. We also have a very competitive yet very generous scholarship. It's called a presidential scholarship. So that scholarship will require a separate application. Basically, it's like 2 essays, and if you are chosen for the next round, there will be an interview. That scholarship will cover tuition and will also cover your room and board. We also have another type of financial assistance program. It's the need-based financial aid. So need-based financial aid, you can, for domestic students, you can apply for SAFSA, and also there's also one Clark financial aid application. For international students, you can apply for need-based financial aid by submitting CSS profile. The deadline for need-based financial aid will be the same as the deadline for admissions as well. And that's it. That is like a very quick overview about Clark. I want to make sure, to save the remaining of the time for a Q&A. But if you have any questions, you can reach out to us through the email address that's on the screen, admissions@clarku.edu. Thank you so much.
So I will start the chat. Thank you so much, Gui. We really appreciate you taking the time to come talk to us about this, guys. The chat room is open. I did have some questions emailed to me, so we'll go ahead and jump into that. One of our students wanted to know, can you tell us about any opportunities that are available for students to engage in community service or any volunteer work? You mentioned a little bit about helping with the Worcester area. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Oh, okay, now I can unmute myself. All right, cool. Yeah, so it's a great question, and it's actually like one of the very it's kind of like our identity that we have a very strong connection with Worcester community. I would say maybe one of the keywords that we use at Clark is community. We are very community oriented, and so that's why a lot of, especially with the POP course, the problem of justice courses, most if not all of the courses are it happens in Worcester. So an example I used earlier is we have students who the language students who use their language skills to help refugees in Worcester. We have actually Worcester is very Worcester has about 20% of the population are immigrants, so it's a very diverse population here. And so we have students who help refugees with translating documents. We also have students come into like elementary schools to help with teaching children in Worcester. We also have students who help with a local business with their business plan. So lots of example, but these are the things that on top of my head right now. But I'm happy to. There's actually like a web page, and I can share with Rock later, and Rock maybe you can share with students that will show all of the projects that we do and our students what they are doing to help the local community here in Worcester.
That would be wonderful. Yeah, and we'll put it in the video when the footage gets processed. Another student wanted to know, how does your college support international students, including with language resources and any kind of cultural events you guys may have on campus?
Yeah, another great question. So we have the International Student Scholar Service at Clark. So let me talk first about the language part. So for any students who come to Clark, if you meet our English requirement, you will come to like start your degree seeking program. But then if any of you who want to have some more preparation with your English language, we have the English for Academic Success program, and also we have a pathway program for this group of students. So you will start by taking some English training courses first. And when after you graduate from that English program, then you will matriculate to our degree seeking program. We have a lot of clubs and such as student association on campus, and a lot of them are cultural based. So, for example, we have South Asian Student Association. We also have International Student Association as well, and every year they host probably one of the biggest international themed event on campus. We call it International Gala. Actually, it just happened last week. So this is the event that we showcase like students coming from different cultural backgrounds, including U.S. students. They come and they showcase, cultures from different countries through dancing, through fashion show, and things like that. The International Student and Scholar Services, they always organize fun events throughout the year for our students to join. And one of the events is probably happened during the International Education Week. Lots of things happen in that week, and lots of opportunities for our international students to involve.
That is wonderful stuff. It's so exciting. Makes me want to go back to college.
I know.
One of our students, we'll go with a couple more student questions because I know it's getting kind of late for some of our kids in Europe. But they want to know, how does your college support first generation college students? Do they have any services for that?
We do actually. In our office, we actually have one colleague that help with the students from, I think his role is access, and anyway, like his role is really to help students like students of colors and students from first generation as well. We do actually, like during with week, we have a program that we specifically designed for students from first generation to help with support and with kind of integrating to a college, and any questions that they may have, especially being a first generation student, they may have questions that is more specific to them. We do have that orientation week for that designed just for first generation students and students of colors as well.
That's wonderful stuff. One of the kids, they wanted to know, can you talk about any of the recreational opportunities over at Clark? Do they have any type of sports stuff, any type of like theater stuff? What's going on over there?
Yeah, so we have first in terms of sport, we are a division-free school. So we do have some sport. We have tennis, we have basketball, through so these are and then many more yes, division-free sports. But at the same time, we have lots of like clubs, not as like competitive, but any students from any level can join. We also have more than 130 student clubs and student associations from different, like interest areas, from cultural to sports, and some are very random, like we have a beekeeping club. And then in Worcester is actually I haven't mentioned a lot about Worcester in my presentation, but Worcester is the second largest city in New England, just after Boston, and so lots of things happen. And Clark is not very far away from downtown Worcester, probably like 10 minutes drive, and so we have lots of things like concerts. Events happen in downtown, but also like in Clark as well. This is again something that I can send. Sometimes I just feel like there's so many things happen at Clark that it's really hard to capture all of them. So I would share with you the link and where you can see all of the fun and exciting events happen at Clark. I actually just remember like last week we have Spree Day. So Spree Day is a tradition at Clark. It's kind of like a surprise for our students. We don't know, students won't know when will be Spree Day. It usually happens in spring. And then it will be a day that's free of classes. There will be no classes. Students won't know until that day. And instead of that, we'll have like concert, music, food truck, lots of games happening on campus. So so that is the highlight fun event that happened at Clark.
Well, you guys certainly have a lot of stuff going on at your university campus. So before we let you go, I always ask this of all of our guests, and this will be the final question. Is there any advice that you can give to these students as they kind of go off into the world and figure out what they want to do?
Yeah, I would say just do a lot of research and there's so many universities, and I know it could be overwhelming sometimes for you to, like in the US only, it's probably about 4,000 plus universities. But like try to have like kind of like a checklist and see what you like and go through that checklist to avoid being so overwhelmed. Just go through that checklist. If any schools, it could be about finance, it could be about location, it could be about a type of education. Do you want to have like just liberal art or research, or schools like Clark where we both have research and liberal art? Answer the question, check those boxes so that you don't have, you don't have to like feel so overwhelmed about going through the decision. And then when you check out that box, make sure that you reach out to the university. Our job is just to want to help you. We want to answer those questions for you. So don't be afraid or don't hesitate to ask questions. Check out all of the resources the university offer, and take advantage of any opportunity you have to interact with the school. What you see on the website is great. There's so many information there, but if any opportunity you have to speak with someone from the school, like either an admission counselor or like especially a current student at that institution, will give you more perspective, from not just from the website, but you can hear from the people who's actually learning and studying and working at the institution. But yeah, these are my advice for any of you who are like exploring universities.
Absolutely. And you guys check that website out. It's clarku.edu. So Quay, thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us. Before I let everyone go, before I end the meeting for all, I traditionally allow people to unmute to say thank you to our guests. So can we all say thank you to Quay Vo for talking to us today about Clark University and giving you guys advice about colleges. So thank you so much, Quay. We thank you enough. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for having me. And it's a pleasure to be here and share Clark information with every one of you.
Thank
All
you.
right. Okay. Bye, everyone.
Bye.